Good morning, cave people. It is I, Sarah, from Sarah Bear's Creative Cave. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you. Today I'm going to do the 10 non-yarny things about me tag. I'm trying to make it short because I do have to be somewhere in about an hour and a half, and I'm trying to cook something before I leave. If you've ever watched my videos, you know sometimes I have a tendency to not be as quick as I would like to be. Part of my anxiety. Okay, so 10 non-yarny things about me. I did write it down because I do tend to be long-winded, and I didn't want to have to sit here and have one of those anxiety brain moments where I'm like, what was I just doing? So I have a list. All right. So 10 non-yarny things about me. Number 1, I love to cook. Over the summer, we started Mission Nutrition with Hope Comfort Kits and Community Outreach, which is a local nonprofit, because we noticed the lack of nutrition in the shelter systems. I understand it's because it's cost prohibitive and they're just not able to have the staff to prepare the nutritious meals. And a cup of noodles, Mr. Noodles, is starch, salt, and food coloring, basically. So not really healthy. So that when we started Mission Nutrition, excuse me, something that I get to do regularly. So twice a week I get to cook or participate in serving the meal to my friends at the shelter. Something I really enjoy. So it's a double whammy. I get to cook and I get to give back. Number 2, I just alluded to this about 2 seconds ago. I have anxiety. I've been diagnosed with severe social anxiety disorder, coupled with depression. Because why have one thing when you can have 2? Which means my life is never boring, that's for sure. Sorry, I'm holding my phone today. I'm not using my webcam because I'm trying to make this short and sweet so that I can save it on my phone and edit it later. So you might notice a few videos where I'm wearing the same clothes just because I'm trying to get a lot done because I've been away for so long. But I'll tell you about that later. So I was diagnosed with anxiety probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. And after that diagnosis, my entire childhood and most of my life finally made sense. I'm not crazy. I'm not insane. I'm not mentally challenged. There's not something wrong with me. I have a mental illness. And actually getting the diagnosis made it easier for me to get to know my triggers, get to know my limitations, and understand that my reactions to things were not just because I'm a giant bitch, pardon my language, but because I have trouble dealing with certain situations. So when I get really anxious or stressed out and I don't know how to deal with the situation and I'm kind of freaking out, I tend to lash out. I call it angerxiety. So it's not intentional and I get over it real fast. And then I'm like, oh, that was like the most bitchy thing ever. I should go apologize to that person. So for years, my husband called me Flippy Floppy because I'd be super pissed off one minute and super like, I'm so sorry, 2 seconds later. Now I realize it's part of my mental illness. That happens less often because I know myself and my triggers and I'm getting to be okay with having limits and setting boundaries and, okay, I'm done now. I need to go take a minute. So that happens a little less often. Coupled with that, obviously I'm sharing it publicly. Anybody who might be on my personal Facebook knows that I have no problem sharing that. I actually frequently talk about it in some of my videos. If I talk really fast, sometimes I might be having anxiety or might be public speaking is not my thing. So I'm getting used to videos, but I'm trying to understand that I talk really fast when I'm having anxiety and not everybody can understand me when I talk 900 miles an hour. But yeah, so I'm really open about that, and I feel very strongly that people need to hear that it's okay to not be okay, because I spent 20 years of my life feeling invisible and unwanted and generally just like crap. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through 20 years of that, because it's not fun. So even if you're my worst enemy and you're having a crappy day, I would still talk you off a ledge because it's important and you matter. Even if we might not get along, you still matter. So everybody matters. So yeah, there's that. And yes, I do take medication every day, which helps me a lot. It makes a difference between me not wanting to go to my mailbox in the front yard to me being able to actually go to the grocery store by myself. I don't like to do that, but I have done it. So, number 3, I have 3 kids. I say I have 3 kids. One of them is my stepson. But I say I have 3 kids because he might not have been born from me, but he's still my child. And you mess with him, you mess with me. So, yeah, I have 3 kids. None of them live with me. They're 17, 20, and 22. 21? He'll be 21 this year, the other one. Yes, so that's right. Okay. Yes. And the other one's going to be 18. Oh my gosh. I feel old. Ugh. Okay, moving on. My kids are awesome. I love them. I love them all. Number 4, Rupert. I just wrote Rupert. My dog, my little sidekick. He is a long-haired Chihuahua, Boston Terrier, Shih Tzu mix. So all of the yappiest, annoyingest dogs all rolled into one, basically. He was the runt of the litter, the only male, and the only one to come out with like the wiry terrier fur. The rest of them were female and looked like little black and brown Shih Tzu puppies. But the second I saw a picture of him, I was like, oh, he looks like a Rupert and he's totally mine. And so he's mine because my husband had, well, he had a choice, but not really. He's my sidekick. I've had him since he was born. Well, okay, not technically since he was born because that would be rude. Rip you away from your mom when you're born. You need, some mommy time. But I've been in his life since he was born. I bought him a toy that he could play with and his sisters and his family could play with. So that when we did bring him home, he would have something that smelled like them. So I still have a piece of it rolling around somewhere in the house. But yeah, so because coupled with my anxiety, can't talk today, can't brain today. I've got the dumb. Because of my anxiety, I was at home. I've been home for a long time. I haven't been able to work. So he kind of has some separation anxiety because he's used to having me around all the time. We're kind of working on that. Baby steps. It's really hard because I have a big heart. So it's really hard for me not to be like, it's okay, I'll be back soon, don't be sad, because that makes the anxiety worse. And I know this, so I'm trying to ignore him for 15 minutes before I leave the house, which makes me feel like a total douche. But I know it helps him, so I'm trying to stick to that. So that's my Rupee, and he has been seen in some of my previous videos. And will probably not be the last time he's been seen in a video. Number 5, and this is kind of a life-changing OMG what moment. I recently got a job. What? One of the reasons you haven't seen me in a while. I haven't been able to work a regular job in a long time because of my anxiety. I've actually been fired from my last 2 jobs. I was fired or let go for my mental illness because I needed special considerations in the form of I'm having a day where I can't deal right now, it's a bad day, or I need to take 5 or 10 minutes to just go and decompress and calm down because I'm having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and they weren't willing to work with me. I'm not going to name them because I'm not all about bashing people and making people look bad, but I just hope in the future that they are more understanding and more open to being accommodating for everybody. That is what it is. So I applied for a job and I had an interview, and I have to say it was the easiest job I've ever gotten. Not because they just accept everybody, but because the people involved, I've been open about my mental illness, and so the people involved were very understanding. They were very calm. They were very okay, no problem. It was very mellow. It wasn't like intense and in your face kind of how I used to kind of interviews, and I was not anxious about it at all. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. So I'm a casual worker at the homeless shelter that I've been volunteering at for the last, well, since it's been open, pretty much. So anybody that's been watching my videos previously knows that that I've been volunteering, that I like to volunteer, and that I feel very strongly about it. So yeah, so now I have a job. And casual just means like I work here and there. I fill in when people are on vacation, or they call me when someone calls in sick to try and fill in the gaps. So yeah, I'm pretty super excited. It's kind of life-changing. Like, it's an amazing job. It's an amazing opportunity. And I'm really, really thankful and grateful that I have a chance to not only help pay bills, but to be able to be more fully involved in helping them than I was as a volunteer. So pretty stoked about that. And number 6, coffee. I don't people without coffee. Caffeine and I are like BFFs, and if you get between me and coffee when I am up super early in the morning, you take your life in your hands, because yeah, no, I don't people without coffee. I don't brain without coffee. That's how I call it. Yeah, so coffee is a necessity. It's, yeah, a vice of mine that I'm never going to give up. I quit smoking like about 10 years ago, no problem, but never giving up caffeine. Not gonna happen. Number 7, I hate, despise, loathe any form of racism or judgment against a race of people, or against a group of people, or against a type of people based on race or gender or sexuality or religion. I'm not a religious person. I believe in a higher power. Do I believe in God? Probably not. But I mean, I don't have any problem with people that do. I don't think less of them or think they're dumb or anything. That's just my personal preference. That's my personal experience. And that's what that is. It's a personal experience. But I despise when people judge without knowing a situation. If you're fully informed in a situation and you know completely 100% of everything that's going on, and you're like, okay, that person's kind of not very nice, that's different. Okay, that's knowledge. It is what it is. But I mean, you could still be nice even if you don't like a person. But judging someone based on their skin color or where they're from or any of that is just total bullcrap in my book. We're all people. We're all human. We all bleed the same. We all end up in the same size hole at the end of it all. We come into the world in the same form for the most of it. So, like, do you know what I mean? Why? Why judge? Like, who are you to say you're better than someone else because your skin color is different? Who are you to say you're better than someone else because you have more money than them? Who are you to say you're better than someone else because you have a really nice home and that person maybe lives on the street? You don't know their story. You don't know them. Don't judge them. That makes me sound like I'm judging you for judging them, which bothers me because I'm kind of against judging, but it bothers me to my core. Don't judge people. Like, just be nice. It's not hard. Kindness is free. It doesn't cost you anything to be kind to someone. Even if you despise that person for whatever reasons you have. You don't need to be a douche just because you don't like them. Everybody deserves respect and decency and human kindness and love. Everyone. Regardless of where you've been, what you've been through, who you are, where you maybe are, and what facility you are or have been in, you still are a human being deserving of love and kindness. Plain and simple. So that's that. And I'm going to leave it at that because I could go on and on for hours about that. Number 8. My hubby. I have been with I call him my husband. No, we're not technically married. We're what the Ontario government calls common law. means we've been together long enough that we are considered married without having the actual ceremony and whatnot. Basically means if we ever break up, we each get half of the other person's stuff. Anyways, but we've been together for 15 years. It'll be 16 years this year. Yay. He's the love of my life, and I had sworn off men. Not that I switched teams. I just swore off men for a while because I was so tired of the BS and the games, and the online dating is a nightmare. I mean, it was 15, 16 years ago, it was a nightmare. I don't imagine it's gotten any better. Not from what I've heard. Anyways, I had sworn off men. I'm like, no, I'm done with it. Just over it. Just gonna focus on me. And then it happened. I saw him. He was kissing another girl. And I was like, well, that's sad because I'm pretty sure that's the guy I'm going to be with forever. And here we are, 15 years later. Yeah. So, yeah, it happened. It was meant to happen. And I just, when they say you just know, I just knew. Yep. So the swearing off of men lasted for a month. And then I met the love of my life. Couldn't be happier. Not that everything is all rainbows and butterflies, because relationships take work, especially after 15 years, because you grow and you change as a person, which means your relationship grows and changes. But I'm quite happy in my life. I'm very blessed. Number 9, I love learning. I love learning new crafts, which is why in the last couple of years I have gotten, I've started knitting. I've taken up tatting. I've gotten into macrame. Sorry, I still have a little bit of that cold lingering around, so I get a little bit phlegmy. What else? Bead weaving. I've started bead weaving. Yep. And I want to start weaving. Oh, I dye my own yarn. I am learning to spin my own yarn. Yeah. So I'm very craft eclectic. And cross stitching. I do cross stitching. Yeah, so I love to learn new things. And that's also a benefit when I'm at a new job, teach me everything there is to know. So if something happens, I can fill in any gap. That's just me. I like to know everything. Maybe I'm nosy, I don't know. And number 10 on the list of 10 non-Yarny things about Sarah is I love to read. I really do. I love to read. English was one of my favorite subjects in school, and I don't get to do it as much as I would like. I have been so focused on my volunteering and doing things with that and my cooking and my crafting that I haven't been reading as much as I like to. So I'm going to end up probably donating a good portion of my books to the Living Space Homeless Shelter here in Timmins, because they like to read and they're just sitting on my shelf. So if I want to borrow one, I know I can go there and borrow one. So yeah. And that is the 10 non-Yarny things about me. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day. I've missed you and I have been thinking about you, and I've been trying to watch all your videos. But like I said, I got a job, so I've been kind of busy. Have a super duper day, and I will talk to you guys later. Stay crafty.